Lesson 6, Unit 1. Stakeholder Management. Stakeholder management is the process you will use to identify, analyze, and develop strategies to improve the relationships with all key project stakeholders. Stakeholder management is not about managing and imposing the goals of the project, but on understanding the needs, issues, and motivations of all stakeholders and developing different strategies to win their support. Project stakeholders are the groups or individuals whose interests are impacted positively or negatively by the project, or whose interests can impact the project. From this definition, you can see that a project will have many stakeholders, all with different attitudes, levels of interest, and support that bear an influence on the project. Identifying all project stakeholders is a first step to understand their needs, expectations, interests, and levels of influence. Project stakeholders include beneficiaries of project interventions, partner organizations, both governmental and non-governmental, donor organizations, and individuals that contribute funds, goods, or services, project staff and volunteers, regulatory bodies, national and international, local authorities, national and the local government, the media and the general public, social, political, and even religious groups. The success of a development project depends on the level of engagement, support, and commitment from all key stakeholders. Your job as a project manager is to build and cultivate relationships with key stakeholders, to sustain, increase, and maintain their interest in the project. Project success is related to stakeholders' perceptions of the value created by the project and the positive changes it creates on the beneficiaries. And this depends on the capabilities and willingness of project managers to effectively manage their relationships. The stakeholder management process consists of steps that help determine the levels of stakeholder influence and interest by categorizing stakeholders. It is about understanding the actual versus the perceived expectations and determine the major constraints and tolerance for change. One of the key processes to manage stakeholder expectations and build a strong relationship is through communications. As a project manager, you will need to develop a stakeholder communications plan that identifies the communication needs of stakeholders, the content of the communications, the frequency, and the format. The stakeholder management process consists of 4 steps: plan, do, check, and adapt the process. This process requires a series of inputs and will produce specific outputs. The major processes involved with the stakeholder management are to plan. This includes the stakeholder analysis, which is the process to identify, analyze, and map the stakeholders and develop stakeholder management strategies. Do, which is to build the relationships, implementing the strategies through communications and obtaining support. To check, this is the stakeholder evaluation, which is evaluating the results of the stakeholder strategies. And adapt, which means the process to improve the stakeholder management strategies. Inputs for the project stakeholder manager include the following documents or sources of information: the work breakdown structure, the project proposal, the log frame, and any information from past projects on the same stakeholders your project will be engaging with. The project team will use the above information to develop 3 important documents for the project: the stakeholder management plan, the stakeholder analysis matrix, stakeholder evaluations, and improvement plans.